Well, hello everyone and welcome to Momentum channel. My name is Mo and today we're going to be taking a close look at our $126,000 portfolio that we have with Questrade and Wealthsimple Trade. We're going to be talking about the 14 different stocks or ETFs that we bought in the stock market during the past trading week. Let's get into it. All right. The very first stock that we bought in the stock market during this last week is Shopify. We bought fractional shares of Shopify, which is a giant Canadian e-commerce provider in the technology sector. As you noticed during the last week, the stock has been up in terms of its stock price value. Looking at the insider activity for Shopify during the past 6 months, we notice more insider buys than any insider activity in terms of insider sales. Our second buy in the stock market last week was Toronto Dominion Bank with ticker symbol TD. It's available on Toronto Stock Exchange, but also available for investors outside of Canada through New York Stock Exchange with ticker symbol TD. Over the past week, overall, the stock is up, though around midweek, the stock hit a higher price of around $84 and change. The last trading price for it at the end of the week is at $83.44. We added some shares of TD through fractional shares. We don't see any insider activity during the past 6 months. Next, we bought some shares of Bank of Nova Scotia, another major Canadian bank with ticker symbol BNS. It's a major dividend payer with a dividend yield over 5%. Bank of Nova Scotia is also available for investors outside of Canada in US dollars through New York Stock Exchange. During the past week, it seems that the stock is up slightly. And looking at the past 6 months in terms of insider activities, we do see 45,000 shares of Bank of Nova Scotia being sold by insiders. Next, we added some more shares of Royal Bank of Canada to our holdings. We bought fractional shares of that. The last trading price for Royal Bank of Canada was at $126.47 in Canadian dollars. Though it's worthwhile mentioning, this stock is available in US dollars with ticker symbol RY through New York Stock Exchange. During the week, the stock has been up. Looking at the insider activity in the past 6 months, we do see some insider sellings as well there. Speaking of Canadian banks, we bought some shares of Bank of Montreal, another major Canadian bank, ticker symbol BMO. It is also available in US dollars for investors outside of the US. It seems that for the most part, the stock was stagnant for the week. Looking at the insider activity, we do see some insider buys in the past 6 months. Next, we added some shares of Artis Real Estate Investment Trust. It's a REIT, Canadian REIT with ticker symbol 𝗖𝐋𝐈𝐿. We added some fraction of shares of it during the times that this stock was down or there was a pullback. We are currently in positive double-digit return for this stock, and we wanted to add to our existing shares. It's a nice dividend payer that does pay its dividend on a monthly basis. Looking at the dividend yield, as you noticed, it has currently a dividend yield of 5.2%. Next, we added some shares of Real Matters. This stock overall was up during the week, but if you look at the longer term horizon, for example, in the 1 year, the stock is doing really poorly. And unfortunately for us, we have our shares bought at much higher prices. I believe our average purchase price for these shares are around $12 or so. Definitely, we are in the negative territory. That's why we're trying to take advantage of lower prices now that the stock appears to have stabilized and bring our cost average down. In terms of the insider activity, if you notice, in the past 6 months, mostly we are seeing insider selling. That's definitely not a good sign, though we are seeing some insider buyings as well happening over the past 6 months. There's a technology and software company, Real Matters, supporting businesses in the real estate and mortgage lending and insurance industries. We did add some shares of Greenlane, similar story to real estate, Real Matters. With Greenlane, our shares are currently in negative territory. We bought them at much higher prices. We are down by about 30 to 40% for this one. However, if you look at it, the past 5 days, the stock is up massively. and same goes for the past 1 month. We are almost seeing that nice 30 to 40% upside for the stock. And that's why we wanted to take advantage of that. We added some shares of Green Lane to our holdings. If you look at the past 52-week price range, the lowest that the stock had hit was at 60 cents. And from there on, the stock started to rebound and currently is hovering around that 90 cents per share. The highest the stock price in the past 1 year was at $1.90. Next, we added some shares of ETF, VDY. It's Vanguard FTSE Canadian High Dividend Yield Index ETF. It's one of those ETFs that does pay distributions on a monthly basis and allows you to invest indirectly in high quality Canadian dividend paying stocks. This fund was down for the week. That said, we added some shares of that to our holdings. If you look at the dividend yield for VDY, it is currently at 3.8%, and its distributions are paid on a monthly basis. Next, we added some shares of VFV to get exposure to lower prices for S&P 500. VFV is Vanguard S&P 500 Index ETF. We did make a video recently on our channel talking in depth about VFV, providing a thorough review of that and what it provides. But in a nutshell, it gives you exposure for Canadian investors to US S&P 500 investing. For the week, this VFV fund has been showing to be up. And in fact, if you look at it, the past 1 month and 3 months, it's recovering from mid-June's lows and now gradually picking up. But if you look at the longer term 1 year horizon, it's nowhere to its 1 year high. So that's why we are trying to continue to add to our shares and buy shares of VFE. It does pay a distribution on a quarterly basis and currently has a yield of 1.18%. For VFE, you're not really investing because of the dividend, but rather mostly for the growth. Look at that, for instance, in the past 3 years or in the past 5 years. It has some of the most amazing returns and something for investors to be conscious about. Next, we added some shares of iShares Core MSCI Canadian Quality Dividend Index ETF, XDIV. It is a dividend paying ETF with its distributions paid on a monthly basis. For the week, it was up slightly. It has a nice 3.65% dividend yield. And if you look at the price range in the past 52-week or 1 year, the lowest it had hit was at $22.97 and the highest was at $27.18. So currently it is hovering somewhat in between, hovering a little bit closer to its 52-week low price. We did add shares of XDIV to our portfolio too. Next, we added some shares of XEQT, which is iShares Core Equity ETF portfolio, giving you 100% exposure to stock market, more aggressive investments as opposed to bonds or fixed income. For the week, this XEQT was up. We added some fractional shares of XEQT to our existing holdings. It does pay a quarterly dividend, XEQT, with a dividend yield of 1.6. Again, for XEQT, you're mainly investing in it because of the growth potential and not because of this dividend distributions. Next, we added some shares of EAGB. This is one that really is one of the worst performing holdings for us. It's Emerge ARC Genomics and Biotech ETF. It's similar to the ARC version of the Genomics and Biotech ETF, only that it's available in Canadian dollars. It has a very low volume. Just looking at the volume, if you look at it, it's very, very low volume. So it's not a type of ETF that is being traded often. The reason we added one share, I believe, in the last week was to really bring our average cost down because looking at the prices overall, it's been one of those that has been hammered so badly, and we wanted to lower our cost average. And lastly, we added shares of VEQT to our holdings. It's Vanguard All Equity ETF portfolio. It's very similar to XEQT, except that this is offered by Vanguard. For the week, it was up. We are invested in it for the sake of growth, although it does pay an annual distributions of 1.6% at this time. Now, with that, let us take a quick look at our investment portfolios. Here on Wealthsimple Trade, we do have our non-registered account, registered retirement savings plan, and tax-free savings account. I'm going to quickly walk you through all our holdings and let you know transparently what we currently have and what are our returns. In our non-registered account, we have 8 positions, as you notice here. Many of the names that we talked about, including Bank of Nova Scotia, EAGB, Real Matters, Royal Bank of Canada, Toronto Dominion Bank, Verizon, XEIV, and XEQT. If we go back and look at our registered retirement savings plan, we did add some funds to our account this week and use that to invest more. If you look at our holdings, we are looking at Artis Real Estate Investment Trust, Dividend Growth Split Corp, DGS, Green Lane, PIMCO Dynamic Income Fund, Royal Bank, Skyworks Solutions, Toronto Dominion Bank, Vanguard FTSE Canadian High Dividend Index ETF, VFV, and XDIV. And lastly, if you look at our tax-free savings account here, we are looking at Bank of Montreal, BNS, Beyond Meat, Cars, EAGB, Green Lane, Hyliion, Manulife Financial, Neo, PDI, Plug Power, Invesco NASDAQ 100 Index ETF, Real Matters, Royal Bank of Canada, Shopify, Toronto Dominion Bank, VDY, and VFV. All the holdings in terms of how many of these holdings we have, their overall return in our portfolio are all disclosed here for your reference. We also do have some funds in our Questrade account, currently at a total amount of $105,000, roughly around that. In terms of profit and loss, this account still is negative territory overall, with a loss of $27,000 as a whole at this time, if you look at that. Now, we're going to take a look at our specific holdings here real quick, sorted by the largest holding from the largest to smallest. I'm going to show you the overall return for these holdings as well. Quickly going through it, some of the names that you see here include VEQT, Boeing, CSIQ, TQQQ. We have Poshmark, Google, Tattooed Chef, EVgo, Hyliion, and the rest of the names that you see here. As you're going down here, the holdings are getting smaller and smaller in terms of our total amount invested. And the type of account that we are invested in is also shown on our last column. Well, there we have it, folks. A quick look into our stock market investment portfolio that we have mainly with Questrade and Wealthsimple Trade. We walk you through specifically our 14 different stock and funds buys that we have last week and walk you through our entire portfolio. I hope you found this video beneficial and gained something of value from it. I would love to hear from you. Let me know in the comment section down below. Do you have any of these stocks or ETFs in your own portfolio? Be sure to share that with us and let us know about that. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to our channel. Here on Momentum Finance, we post every week several videos about investing, including investing in dividend stocks, growth stocks, penny stocks. We also talk about investing in crypto and ways to reach financial freedom. Thank you, and I hope to see you next time.